Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Late Night Dice Ramblings from the Warp. We apologize for the delay in the release. Both myself, Kyle, and Christian, we all apologize. Apologize to the people.
My friendship's good enough for you people.
I was gonna see what Kyle said first before
this
my
shit
reaction.
given this guy here. So, in our defense, we were doing our annual Lake Hammer game. We were not sober enough to record. We tried. We really did try.
Hey,
But
only one of us threw up this weekend.
that wasn't me.
No, it wasn't me. One of us, as in like the people in the party, the people at the lake house, not the three of us.
Oh, I
I was
thought you were
about to
saying
say, I
Christian.
was like, huh?
I thought you were saying Christian got tore up and threw up and didn't tell me. I was like, oh man, I would have. That made me so mad.
No, it was Grant.
But so this is going to be a two-part episode. So we're going to go and get into Shattered Legions because we're behind the ball and that's on us. We apologize, but we weren't in the state of mind to give these the attention they deserve, so you guys can get the breakdown to the full of our ability, right? To the full extent of what we can do. And then the second part, we're going to talk about how things went at Lake Hammer, what we learned with some of our 3.0 playthroughs, kicking Seth into the lake.
What we're
And
not going to miss about 2.0.
we're just not going to bring up 2.0. We're past it. We're done. We're done. We're 3.0 through and through now. And so let's hop into it. Shattered Legions. So earlier this month, we got Black Shields. And I told you guys that Shattered Legions were hot on their heels. We were going to get the rules. And I remember actually saying I think the rules were going to drop while we were at Lake Hammer. Yeah, great timing, GW. It's like these guys don't even read my itinerary.
How dare they?
I'm telling you, man, just the audacity.
Inconsiderate? Churlish?
Churlish. Okay, so let's get into it. So first, let's talk about what the Shattered Legions are. Much like the Black Shields, these are guys that don't fit into their legions anymore, but for a completely different reason. So the Shattered Legions are exactly as they sound. These are guys who are cut off from their legions, or they are not able to link back up with them, or their legions are kind of gone, right? So we think in the fallout of Istvan, Raven Guard were decimated. The Iron Hands were completely destroyed. The Salamanders are completely destroyed. Like, I'm talking like maybe in between a few hundred and a couple of thousand made it off the planet of each one of these. Like, they were decimated, right? That's why they're referred to as the Shattered Legions. The other reason why there's lots of other legions that tie into this is because you also have guys that were cut off from their legion. Point in case, Alexis Pollux, right? Alexis Pollux gets cut off from his legion. He ends up in the Pharos and doing stuff with the 500 Worlds with Ultramar. You have Saul Tarvitz, who was one of the loyal Emperor's children, who actually died at one of the Istvan sites. Spoilers. Sorry. You have Garviel Loken, who was a loyal Luna Wolf. And what's really cool is these guys are in the Shattered Legion rules. And we're going to get into that. So the Shattered Legions are essentially a Build-A-Bear for legions. You know, if you are not happy with the confines of your legion, if you woke up today and you were like, man, Blood Angels just aren't it for me anymore, out comes the dude in the black and white dodgeballs like, hey, Timmy, let me tell you about the Shattered Legions.
Nobody wants to play with me.
So the first thing you have to know is that Shattered Legions are the legions with small modifications to flavor. Right. For anyone who watched one of our previous episodes, these have been released on the Warhammer community webpage. If you go down into the downloads, they will be part of the New Legacies expansion stuff, and they are the Shattered Legions PDF. The Shattered Legions can pull from any of the 18 legions that are in the game. Dark Angels, Emperor Children's, Ultramarines, Blood Angels, whatever, they're all there. And each one has their own legion trait that takes place only in a Shattered Legion army. You can choose between 2 or 3 of these legion traits, and we're going to get to that right after we get into picking up an army. So the Shattered Legions are picked from your normal Legion Astartes book. So if you've got a Liber, if you've got a Astartes Liber or you've got a Hereticus Liber, you have all the stuff to make the Shattered Legions. You're still going to build it out of those two books, right? So you're going to still use the same HQs, Siege Breakers, Ope Days, Masters of Signal. You're still using tactical squads. You're still using, destroyer squads, recon squads, all the tanks, all the dreadnoughts. All that stuff is still available to you. You're just building it with a different Legion Tactica. So as you guys have noticed, when you're building your army, there are a few things you get with your Legion Tactica. The first is a prime benefit, right? Now, the Shattered Legion's prime benefit, I'm not going to lie, and Games Workshop, if you're reading this, if you're listening to this, maybe Kyle can put closed captions on this so you can hear me better. We have got to stop with the fucking legalese. This shit's getting on my nerves. I'm not going to lie. I understand the gist of the rule after having read it 5 times. But the way this is worded is very convoluted. So I'm going to read what the wording is on this prime advantage, and then I'm going to explain what they mean by it. Okay?
I read it 5 times, so you don't have to.
Dude, I'm telling you, like reading it, I was like, I almost got an accent. So here's how it works. Normally with a Legion, you take a prime benefit. So say like you're the Iron Warriors prime benefit, right? Their prime benefit makes you expendable. And you can fit that into those prime slots. Well, the prime benefit for Shattered Legion says, if a unit has the command battlefield role, and which only includes models of the Shattered Legion trait, is selected to fill a prime organization slot, the following prime advantage can be selected. Now I'm going to read this slow.
Do it like
It's
barbecue, slow and low.
So it's called the Exemplars of the Legion. Add 1 additional force organization slot to the detachment that includes the unit selected to fill a prime force organization slot with this prime advantage. The slot added may be of any battlefield role other than High Command, Warlord, or Lord of War. Note that a detachment may gain more than 1 additional force organization slot if this option is selected for multiple units in the same detachment. Each unit selected to fill such a slot must be from the same Legionis Astartes army list, not include any model with the unique subtype, not have a faction trait that matches the Legion that is represented by the model that was selected to fill the battlefield role with the prime advantage. All models in any of these have their faction trait replaced with the Shattered Legions and have the following additional special rule. If models from this unit would benefit from the Mutable Tactics Legion Tactica, they may only benefit from the bonus related to their legions whose trait was replaced as part of the prime advantage. Now, that is a lot of jumbled bullshit, so let me digest that for everyone here. What that is...
I'm sorry. Like you said all that and you lost me, and all I could think of was that Billy Madison one where he's like, slow down.
Yeah. So
I saw the notification and I thought it was the GIF. It said Billy Madison. I thought it was the today, Junior.
No. Okay, I'm sorry, Gabe. Explain that to the people. I'm sorry.
Okay. So now, are you guys ready for the part that's going to be absolutely infuriating to everyone?
Yeah.
Let me read the example they provide. For example, for the Iron Hands, Salamanders, or Raven Guard Shattered Legions army, a Centurion painted to represent an Iron Hands Legion can fill a prime organization slot and can select the Exemplars of the Legion prime advantage. You can then take an appropriate unit that contains models of the Iron Hands trait, such as the Iron Hands Medusan Immortals. So what that actually says is that if you have a command model and you say, my command guy is an Ultramarine, fantastic, I can go get an Ultramarines unit so long as it is not unique and add it to my Shattered Legion. If Christian has his Iron Warriors and he's like, you know what? I want to have Iron Havocs. He can, but they will only benefit from the Iron Havocs Legion Tactica for the Shattered Legions. Right?
So by not unique, you mean you can't grab suzerains.
If the suzerains have the unique keyword, which I believe they do, there are some, like for instance, like Sun Killers. Sun Killers 100% have unique. Siege Tyrants, I believe, have unique. I believe that for Imperial Fist, I believe that Warders have unique. I think that's accurate. So some of the other things that are kind of cool and weird about that is that unique unit type is not very common. Because actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think Suzerain have it. I could be wrong. That's something I'd have to go and like actually read in a book and be like, hey, what keyword did you have that some guy who wrote into the rules throughout the universe in perpetuity? You can, yeah. So anyway, we're gonna come back to this Prime Advantage because I want to explain the rest of the Shattered Legions for you guys and the viewers, and then we'll come back to why that's important. So first off, let's talk about commanders of the Shattered Legions, right? So we know that with each one of our legions, we can take our special named characters, right?
Yes.
Thank you for replying. I appreciate you. You can use commanders of the Shattered Legions, and these are lore accurate. The 5 commanders that you can use are Hibu Khan of the White Scars, Alexis Pollux of the Imperial Fists, Shadrach Medusan of the Iron Hands, Saul Tarvitz of the Emperor's Children, and Garvio Loken of the Sons of Horus. The reason for this is Hibu Khan is disjointed from the White Scars. He's actually on like a suicide mission. That's a whole nother lore explanation. Alexis Pollux was cut off from his legion, and he was part of the Shattered Legions. Shadrach Medusan is actually like one of the forefathers of the Shattered Legions. Like he's one of the guys who like founds it as its own thing. Saul Tarvitz is an honorary addition here. I think this is like getting an honorary doctorate kind of thing. Because though he was part of the Shattered Legions, he kind of died before they became a thing. That was more of like a, you would have been homeboy. And then Garvio Loken, because even though he does some things with like knight errants and things like that, he ends up not becoming a full tilt knight errant toward the end. So he's part of the Shattered Legions. So you can include any of these 5 commanders to be the warlord of your legion if you're running Shattered Legions. Now, special notes. They also will only get the Legion Tactica for their legions. So if you take Saul Tarvitz for Emperor's Children, he will only get the muted Tactica for Emperor's Children. That being said, let's get into what that means. When you craft a Shattered Legions army, you get the Legion Tactica called Mutable Tactics. What this basically says is that you get to pick between 2 or 3 legions to get their legion benefit in your Mutable Tactics. Okay? If you choose 2 of them rather than 3, so if you stop at 2 legion benefits, your army also gets a rule called Bound in Blood. And what Bound in Blood says is that models from this army, subject to the Mutable Tactics special rule, modify their leadership and cool characteristics by +1 during the second and third turn, and by 2 during the fourth and any subsequent turns. That means starting on turn 2, your leadership and your tool will go up by 1, and on round 4, it'll go up by 2, which doesn't sound game breaking, but from what we played this past weekend, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. And that's kind of like lore accurate too, if we're thinking about Shattered Legion, how they kept their cool, kept their calm through basically the whole everything that they were going through. So I give props to GW for that. They're making stuff more.
They're tying it into the
lore.
thematics. They're tying it into the thematics.
The narrative is there, yeah.
Because you're right. The Shattered Legions are kind of like Will Smith and I Am Legend, where like every time something bad goes happen, he's just like every little thing is gonna be all right. Like they're just like, oh, dad's dead, cool. Friend's dead, cool. We ain't got a ship, all right, we'll figure it out. Or we had ammunition, cool, we'll figure that out too. They're just going with it.
You're painted different, but you're cool.
Right. So if you use 2 Legion benefits, you keep this bound in blood. If you take 3, you only get the Legion benefits and you don't get that. So things to know, unless you're taking one of those special characters as an HQ choice, or unless you're taking one of the prime slot things we were talking about earlier, everyone in your army benefits from these mutable tactics. So let's get into them. The Dark Angels have a mutable tactic called the Children of Old Night. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm not going to break these down into the legalese that Games Workshop has put on here. All I'm going to do is give you a rough overshot of what they do, and I'll do my best to not under or over represent them. So the Dark Angels, their mutable tactic says that you're not affected by fear at 12 inches like normal. You're only affected by fear at 6 inches. Right. So they gave this one the anti-Johnny Sins treatment. The Emperor's Children have a mutable tactic called Unparalleled Skill. When they're called upon to make a melee attack hit test, they will always hit on a 4+ regardless of what's required to succeed.
Gross.
Right. So it doesn't matter what your weapon skill is. It doesn't matter, anything that you have. They will always hit you on a 4. Now, Iron Warriors. This is such a perfect name. It is called Accustomed to Devastation. Any leadership test you are called upon to take for the Iron Warriors Accustomed to Devastation rule, anything of a 9 or less is considered a pass all the time period. That's a pretty good rule.
Yeah.
White Scars have a rule called Swift of Action. It basically says that in any turn in which you rush or do a setup move, you are +1 to your initiative until the end of the subphase. So if you're doing a charge, which requires a setup move, you'll be +1 initiative. Or if you did a rush that turn, you will get +1 to your initiative in the subsequent combat phase.
That's fucking amazing.
That's pretty good.
One.
That's pretty good. The Space Wolves have the Spirit of Fenris. When doing setup moves, they get +1 to the setup move. That's also pretty cool.
The setup move is in the charge phase, right? I mean,
yeah.
before
So
the charge phase?
So you'll declare your charge.
Mm-hmm.
You will do your setup move. We will volley fire, and then you will roll the charge. Okay, this extends that initial setup move by 1. And it's also important to note that if I get into base contact with you with the setup move, we never fire volleys and you never do Overwatch.
And that is fucking big. Out of the games
that's colossal.
Play, that's big. Okay.
Yeah, 100%, right? Now, equally devastating, the Imperial Fists have a rule called Devastating Volleys. They get to fire volley shots with bolters.
So why? Just why?
Because that's their whole claim to fame, man, is their bolter discipline, their siege troops, like they're about it. So they get to do volleys with bolt guns, which I think is great. Night Lords, they have a murderous reputation. When they kill a model in close combat, they get +1 to their resolution score. So in close combat, when you're killing people and you're getting your resolution score, whatever else, if they were able to inflict casualties, they get +1 to the resolution score on top of whatever else they score. Blood Angels have one of the more interesting ones. It is called Vengeful Blows. Vengeful Blows says that if a model in the unit that has the special rule takes a casualty, they're +1 on all of their subsequent wound tests for the rest of that combat. So if you kill one of them, the rest of the unit is +1 to wound. I don't know if I like that or I hate it, but it's hilarious.
Kind of good, right? If you play it tactically and you know you're going into something with a higher initiative than you, I guess.
Bro, do you have any idea how awesome that is? If you're going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm just going to take a whole squad of power fists.
Yeah.
I hope you don't kill somebody because we're going to be pissed. It almost makes you want to not kill somebody. Iron Hands got Iron Resolve. I'm not going to lie. This is situationally amazing. They get a 4-up Feel No Pain against volley attacks. It's so niche that I don't know how it works, but we're going to come back to that. Hold your judgment. World Eaters have Frenzied Pursuit. Whenever they choose to use the Pursue during the, like in the fight subphase, you can either like withdraw, do whatever, but then you can also do like a volley shot, like gun them down, or you can do Pursue, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
They get +2 to their Pursue moves.
That's pretty good. Basically keeping someone in combat that's trying to run away.
Correct.
Because it's only based off your initiative, right? And there's no other roll added to that. It's you move away your initiative.
I believe so. Yes, that sounds accurate, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
I haven't done enough close combat to know that ironed out 100%.
Yeah.
My brain hasn't soaked in the repetition yet. Ultramarines got a rule called Methodical Fighters. If you target them with a reaction, you're on snapshots.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Next, you have Death Guard, which this is the most Death Guard shit ever. It's called Children of Barbarous. The entire army gets moved through cover. They just don't care about cover anymore. They automatically ignore the effects of dangerous or difficult terrain. It specifically says if they are called upon to take a dangerous terrain test, then it's considered that they automatically passed it without having to roll a dice. Death Guard doing Death Guard shit. Next in line,
Yeah, I was like, oh.
we have the Thousand Sons, and they have a rule called Conjured Illusions. Their rule says you don't get to pursue us.
Yeah. Pursue.
Like, you can't chase me. I made you see like assault chickens, and now you're scared. You can't pursue me. The Sons.
There you go, Kyle. You can play Shattered Legions, run your Death Guard and Thousand Sons, so when you run away, you can be like, ha, I went over dangerous terrain. Can you go over that dangerous terrain?
Don't be giving this boy ideas. So,
dude, I've already been thinking about a Shattered Legions army.
So Sons of Horus have one called Brutal Traditions. If they're outnumbered, they get +1 to hit. Just marinate on that.
Just straight up.
Yeah.
If you outnumber them, they get +1 to hit, and it does take into account bulky.
Okay, that's.
Oh, so if someone's bulky 2, then they count as 2 people? That's gross.
Yeah.
That was kind of a miss for me, but
we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Word bearers have a rule called zealous devotion, and this is probably one of the coolest and weirdest of all the things. You know how we talked about you do the setup move, right? Then you do volley attacks, and then you do your charge distance, which is 1d6. Word bearers roll 3d6 and drop the two lowest for charge distances.
That one's pretty good.
Next, we have the salamanders, and they have the scions of the flame.
Fuck
When what's that, Kyle?
I said, and fuck them.
So their rule is basically if they're required to take a panic test from any flame weapon, they just ignore the panic.
That's really good because I see people taking a lot of flamers.
Yeah, like the actual verbatim says, a unit that includes models from an army who have this mutable tactic are unaffected by any variant of panic from weapons with the flame trait. Yeah,
Situational, but really good.
yeah, we're just breaking some game mechanics. Raven Guard, not gonna lie, really like this one. It is called Masters of Obfusc. How do I pronounce this?
Obfuscation.
Obfuscation. Yes, it's a weird word, and my mouth couldn't form it.
I'm not even gonna try. I know my dumb ass is gonna fuck it up, so y'all could go for it.
Well,
I'm not
Christian,
even reading it. I just heard you fuck it up, and I was like, he's trying to say obfuscation.
bro, Christian just saw that one, was like, I don't speak Spanish. But really cool rule. If you stand still, you have 6-up shrouded.
So it's the
That's
John
pretty
Cena.
good.
Yeah, if
John
you stand
Cena.
still,
You stand still, you can't see me.
yes. And then the Alpha Legion got assassination tactics, volley attacks, get precision 6+.
Oh, that's so dumb.
That is creepy as shit.
Okay,
Now,
that's
now let's
good.
now
That's funny.
let's talk about the mixed matches. What if I take Alpha Legion and Imperial Fist, and every time you charge me, I get 6-up precision on my bolters?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
It's probably bad manners, but this is Warhammer we're talking about. Can you do a setup move to make your charge excessively hard? So you get the volley, but then you don't, but you fail a charge on purpose?
Yeah, we do it all the time.
That's gross. So you can just get those precision 6+ on bolters on purpose.
Yeah. And then just oh, I was too far away to make the charge. Boo.
Oh no, I didn't make my 10-inch charge. How could I?
Correct, because the rules say I only have to be within 12 inches to declare a charge.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, see, Kyle's picking up on the jank. I'm so proud of you. They grow up so fast. But we were talking about earlier some of the crazy ones, right? We can take 2 or 3 of them. So hear me out. You get the white scars, it gives you the +1 initiative when you make a setup or a rush, right? I take the Space Wolves of the Spirit of Fenris, that gives me +1 my setup moves, and then I take the Word Bearers that says I roll 3d6 to drop the 2 lowest for charge distance.
Yeah, but if you take 3 of them, right, the individual units still have to have their individual trait, right? It's only if you take 2 that they all benefit from all of them.
No, the only benefit you lose by taking 3 is you lose that that bound in blood, where you get the plus to your soft stats later in the game.
Oh,
You swap that for a 3rd Legion benefit.
okay. Well, if it's that way, yeah, that's kind of nutty. Like,
Yeah, and like you think like, oh, okay, then here's what I'll do. I'll take, I don't know, the Night Lords for murderous reputation. I'll take Blood Angels for vengeful blows, and then I'll take the Sons of Horus brutal tradition. Make sure I'm always outnumbered, and I'll just start beating the brakes on y'all, getting +1 to hit and +1 to wound.
I think if I would take one, it would always be the one that allows me to take bolters. That's just silly.
Yeah, the Imperial Fist one's a devastating volleys. That's a great rule. I also like the Ultramarines one. That's like, oh, are you gonna react? Cool, snapshot that for me. I don't mind that at all.
Now, talking about this out loud, so what's the difference of just taking Shattered Legions or just, taking your primary legions, just say taking Ultramarines and then allying like Salamanders or something?
That's a good question. So right now, say I want to bring my Ultramarines and I want to ally in my Imperial Fists, right?
Yep.
My Ultramarines will benefit from the Ultramarine rules, and my Imperial Fists will benefit from the Imperial Fist rules. But if I were to build the exact same thing as a Shattered Legion, the entire army will gain the benefits of all of the mutable tactics.
So if you're going to do a mixed army like that, you might as well go Shattered Legions.
I won't go that far. I won't go
Yeah.
that far, right? Because there's still something to be said about I have, say Blood Angels doing close combat backed by some Imperial Fists that are getting +1 with all these bolt guns and all this other stuff. There are still ways to build in allied detachments to do some really good things. I'm not going to rule that out, right? Because
Not to mention War Gear too.
yeah, because you got to remember, yeah, Christian hit that one on the head. The Shattered Legions do not have access to any Legion war gear. Whereas the Black Shields can take like Panoply of old and still gain access to some old war gear. These guys are running base war gear. So nobody's going to be running anything crazy unless you take that prime slot and add in a unit. And even then, it's only that one unit getting it.
Can you do a Shattered Legions with an allied detachment?
Yes, you can.
So if you really wanted to do it, you could have 4 armies in one.
Yeah, technically.
That's called the fuck the Tyranids army.
What? Where'd you pull that from?
Yeah, that sounds like
Because
wait.
I figured you'd have to take all of the legions to fight the Tyranids.
I mean, it
I mean, it
depends
only
on
took
which
the
generation.
Ultramarines.
Yeah, it depends on which era of writing in GW's history you want to go off of. Because at one point, Ultramarines did it by themselves.
Yeah, that's what I was.
I mean, Blood Angels
Ah, shit,
technically
this is gonna
did
be a
it,
3-hour
but
episode. Gabe's getting happy about his story. Gabe's like, let me tell you
I'm
how
not
they
gonna get
did
into
it.
it. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not because that is my tism. The first Tyrannic War is my tism. We're not gonna get into it. If anyone ever wants to discuss that, I will ad nauseum. I will. So when we look, yeah, ad nauseum, I will discuss the Tyrannic Wars. You don't want to get into that. So this is more of a like when you're looking at this from a thematic standpoint, right? Here's what you have to realize. This is how the books read. It was, an Iron Hand talking to a Salamander. Salamander's like, you don't understand, Vulcan lives. I'm protected. And that guy's like, I think he's dead.
I say he did.
And then meanwhile, you've got like a random like Raven Guard in the back who's talking to these dudes like Gears of War. Like, I live by the principle of find cover or die. And so they're just swapping all these different things. And so they actually did form these really cohesive units that all benefited from small portions of their father legions. And they slowly morphed into these guerrilla tactic kind of armies that were holding their own and doing lots of stuff, but they weren't fully involved in their legion. They weren't fully detached from their legion. They were in this weird ebb and flow state where they were like, oh, my legion says that we should respect bolter discipline. And the other one is just like, mighty fine stick. I should hit someone with it. Right. So
Black Shields forsook their chapter, and Shattereds just aren't part of it anymore, or lost their chapter.
okay.
Like one was a choice, and one was
Okay.
because the chapter got destroyed.
Black legions are exactly as you said. They basically said, I am not going to be with my legion anymore. Some did it out of like malice, some did it out of pride, some people did it because they were like, like I'm gonna go make my own legion with blackjack and hookers. And then there were the ones who literally felt like they couldn't go back to their legions because they spent so much time with the shattered legions. Right. So a lot of the guys who went to the Black Shields were from the Shattered Legions, if my history serves me correctly. And then some of the guys who went to the Black Legion to the Black Shields, a lot of the guys who went to the Black Shields were just the guys who didn't feel at home in where their legions had gone. You have to remember, at the end of the war, like 3 legions don't have Primarchs anymore. 3 or 4 of them. Ferrus Manus is dead. Sanguinius is dead. Alfarius is dead. Perturabo was like, I'm going to go play Dollhouse. Quite literally. Homeboy was like, I just want to build pretty things, and just left. And some guys were like, I don't agree with that either. And some people were like, I'm loyal to the Emperor, but my legion went traitor. I need somewhere to go. And some of those were with the Shattered Legions, where they fought with them for a while. Then after a while, they're like, okay, the war is over, but I don't want to stay in this weird, jacked up Shattered Legion thing, so I want to go do something. They became Black Shields. And some of them, like Indrid Har, he was like, man, fuck World Eaters and fuck Angron. I'm not about this. I'm a loyalist. I'm going to go do my own thing. And it's actually in his rules. He has hatred World Eaters. He's like the hallmark of what Black Shields are, right? The Shattered Legions are more like you're cut off from everybody and you're just trying to survive.
Yeah, I thought the Shattered Legion just started from the Drop Site Massacre. They were the ones that got...
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. They're the ones that got shot up, massacred, and depleted. They had to fight basically for their lives, so they just made a team, and they were the Shattered Legions, and Black Legions were just like, our shit went traitor, I still want to stay a loyalist. That's the easiest way I could explain it.
Black Shields. Don't call them Black Legions. Don't try to roll the traitors in with the happy folk.
You said Black Legions earlier.
That's redacted. So anyway, so yeah, the Black Shields are just guys who just didn't want to go back to their legions or had reasons not to. The Shattered Legions, Christian's right. Like it's the remnants of Shattered Legions, of guys who couldn't go back to their home legions, or there wasn't really much of a home legion to go back to. They talk about how devastating it was for the Salamanders and for the Iron Hands and all that. But you got to remember, there are also Dark Angels that were cut off from the main legion for years. There were Ultramarines, Blood Angels. There were, there were Iron Warriors that didn't know Perturabo went traitor until halfway through the heresy. That's what the Shattered Legions were formed from. I think between the 2 drops that we got, and this is a big contrast from the previous edition, Black Shields and Shattered Legions are going to be fun to play. Now, do I think they're going to be like full of like really over the top, crazy OP armies? Absolutely not. But I think they're going to be awesome to run. And I think that they're viable in the sense of you can play them and still get that sense of accomplishment without having to be that guy with the Legion. Point in case, if you're playing, say, like Alpha Legion right now, if you're the guy who shows up with like 5 units of headhunters, 3 units of seekers, a bunch of recon marines, people are like, ugh, this guy. If I do the same thing with Shattered Legions, it's like, is it still kind of a powerful list? Yeah, but it doesn't bite the same, I guess. And so you're going to see a lot of creativity with Shattered Legions and Black Shields. And I cannot wait for somebody who's like, hey, here's my Shattered Legions with allied Black Shields. That's going to be funny.
Yeah.
Right? The other cool thing is I think this is going to fit into the anti-pocket a lot of guys feel, where like guys are like, I really like the game, but I don't want to do just the original Legions back to back all the time.
Yeah.
Cool.
This would be a good way to make a custom Legion.
Well, I'm not going to go so far as make it a custom Legion because you're still within the confines of the original 18, right? But from a thematic standpoint, it's where you don't have to have, like, if you're the kind of guy who likes to paint every Legion, you just want to paint models for the sake of painting models, you can, and it's legal. No one can say anything to you about it. Like, not like anyone could say anything about your paint jobs anyway. Like, if you want to show up with Unicorn and Bedazzled Space Marines next week, I'm not going to tell you can't play. I'm just going to say, like, all right,
That was a choice.
yeah, like I'll hit you with an okay.
Unless
You
you
know.
walk up to the DA with that and say, "These are my Ultramarines," then you might have problems.
No, I probably wouldn't even go that far. Like, most of the time, I appreciate anyone expressing their army the way they want to express it. I'm trying to find a delicate way to put this.
I know, Gabe. I showed up with pink and white Custodes one year. You accept us all. If you could accept that, we're good.
I accept everybody. I think where I draw the line is with, like, if you come to me and you're like, yeah, I fashioned this army after, like, if you hit me with that tism we talked about earlier in the season of the episodes, right, where you're like, this army is based upon the 5th detachment of the 9th company of the Hammer of Olympia that took place here, here, and here, and this person was the commander and everything else. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take a look at the army, and it's hot pink. I'm gonna be like, dude, I was with you. I was in the story with you, man. I was there, bro.
Why the fuck is Garfield Logan in a green fucking tutu?
Yeah, like I need to know why Abaddon's wearing a fucking kilt, homeboy. Like, walk me through it. Like, I don't care how you model your army. I just want consistency. Like, if you're playing and you're building your army and you're having a good time, I want you to have a good time. If you're like old Cameron and you're like, these are my crazy set of Ogrins, one of them is carrying a dead guy on a stick. Fantastic, man. I'm loving the energy. But then don't come to me later in that same breath and be like, yeah, I really wanted to get the Gettysburg feel when I painted them. You know, that's where it's going to be kind of weird for me. Like, I don't care how you paint your models. I just ask for consistency in the level of seriousness that you expect me to convey. It's one of those things. I love everyone who loves their hobby, and I appreciate every army that's out there. On a different note, now that we've kind of wrapped up the Shattered Legions portion, I wanted to let you guys know about some information I got. So you guys remember we were talking about going up to Dallas in January.
Yep.
For the game up there in Dallas, right? So one of our really good friends, at least one of my really good friends that I get along with very well, John Christensen up in Dallas, he's actually running that game. And I was talking to him and I was like, hey man, how's everything going? How's all the stuff? How are you guys doing with the Grail Abyss stuff, the Siege of Baroda? And he's like, oh yeah, there was like some things we're doing. We changed some stuff up. So that game is now part of Texas Open.
Oh, damn.
So John Christensen will be running the Horus Heresy event at the Texas Open the weekend of January 16th. So
Nice.
if you're looking for a good time, Texas Open, they put it in a great venue, great price. Quite literally, I think one of the things that they said was just like, yeah, it'll be cheaper drinks. I'm like, yay, we're getting fucked up on a budget. Because, like, I mean, you guys saw it. Like, if I'm out at an event, like, I'm gonna have a beer or 5, and I enjoy having a good time, and I like buying beers for my opponents. And if I don't have to pay $19 for it, like I did at Adepticon, then I'm totally okay with that. So, yeah, small thing there. So Texas Open, they're still getting the packets and stuff out. I think the official announcement came out earlier today, that being, October 29th. But it will be in January. It'll be around the same dates, but it'll be at Texas Open now. And so that'll be posted in our events channel. I'll get all that updated. I just want to throw that out there for you guys that were either, if you were on the fence about going to Texas Open, or if you were looking for an event in Dallas in January, that's definitely happening. Check out the Texas Open. There will be a Heresy event, and we will be there, barring anything crazy from happening. I know that I've already kind of planned for it. I know that Christian was real hot and heavy planning for it, and I think Kyle was talking about it if, things lined up correctly. I don't
If
know
my
if that's
boss says I could go.
see that's great. Who's in charge of this shit? Like,
My
who do I
wife.
have to write a memo to?
The wife.
I can talk her into it. But yeah, so we definitely have that coming up. We have the TXO event. I would really love to have some guys hop in and talk about Shattered Legions. I would really like a couple of people to throw some ideas in the chat. Tell me how you feel about them, how you don't feel about them, what you like, what you don't like. If you like anything at all, I really would like some feedback on these, because these are the coolest set of rules for Shattered Legions and Black Shields we've ever seen. These are legit. They're awesome. Beyond that, like, what do you guys think?
Like out of the two?
Yeah, between Black Shields and Shattered Legions, which one are you feeling
Dude,
more?
I'm Endred Heart. That's it. That's all it is for me. I don't care where he goes. Like Endred Heart.
This
Like
fangirl here, man.
exactly. For a World Eater to just be like, no, I'm gonna stay loyal as fuck you. I'm gonna go do some hood rat shit with this big ass fucking power gauntlet. Yeah, Endred Heart's a badass. So my bias leans towards there. But the Shattered Legions are really cool, guys. There's a lot of creativity there. It's I think we're gonna see more Shattered Legions and Black Shields than we did the last edition, just because they make sense now. They're easier to comprehend and easier to just put together and make a lot of cool things. So if you have two armies that you had sitting around, you can now combine them together, just like I asked Kyle with Thousand Sons and Death Guard. Might not be that great, but damn, I know it's gonna be fun.
Kyle?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of ways to incorporate my Death Guard and Thousand Sons together.
Yeah, that's nightmare fuel.
Like the walking Volkite line with a fucking sorcerer next to him, you know.
So I do have one other piece of advice for the guys who listen. So I know that we have one here in San Antonio, and I'm sure there's some other places, but find your local store that deals in like secondhand models. This is probably going to be one of the coolest things about Shattered Legions, Black Shields, all that kind of stuff. Firstborn for 40K Marines are a dime a dozen right now, and nobody can get rid of them because nobody wants them. They're not valid in 40K, right? And the armor is kind of like a hodgepodge. So they don't really fit into Heresy very well, but they fit fantastic into Shattered Legions and Black Shields. Go into your local stores, find the guys who are selling, like the random throw around, kind of thing. And here's what's even crazier. I don't know if you guys picked up on this or not either, but do you remember what the Black Shields they talked about? There was one where you could take the Xenos weapons.
Yeah.
Okay. Walk into your local store at some point this week, find an old box of Deathwatch Marines, and use the Xenoblades out of that kit to kit bash any Black Shield that you want. It'll even come with different Legion iconography. You might have to trim a couple of awards here and there and like clean off a couple of like Imperial Eagle icons. But you can build this out of scraps, guys. You can go into your local store and buy a mixed bag of like 20 regular Marines. Most guys are selling them for $1 a Marine, is what Firstborn Marines are going for right now in a lot of these retail shops. It's like $1 to $1.50 a Marine because they're just not moving. Go into a store, buy some of them, build you a Black Shields army, build you a Shattered Legions army. You can do it for pennies on the dollar right now. And if anyone says, oh, that's not lore accurate, that's not your friend. Don't talk to him anymore. I stand behind that.
Agreed.
So that being said, that's out of the way. We got all that going. We're going to discuss Lake Hammer and what we thought and felt about some of the 3.0 games and some of the other stuff. We're also going to talk about yeeting Seth into the lake. Beyond that, again, we want to apologize for this episode coming out late. Sometimes we suck. We'll do better. And that's going to be it. It's going to be kind of a short episode for this one. Kyle, Christian, you got anything else for the years before we wrap up?
Nope, that
Christian?
was no. I think we wrapped that up pretty well.
All right.
Okay, fantastic. Well, like I said, hop in the channel, start talking Shattered Legions, start talking Black Shields, start talking 3.0. Hit us with some ideas, hit us some crazy stuff. I kind of want to see how you guys are building some of these lists. If you figured out list building, I know that's still a thing. Hit me with your ideas, holler at us. We're going to be in the Discord. We're always available. After that, all I want to say is, once again, happy dice, happy life, fuck Erebus, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a great one.
Only thing I have to
Later,
add,
guys.
adios.
This bitch.